And it did everything. I mean,
It was an all-purpose
supplied-
vehicle.
Yeah.
You bet.
You went after the feed, you did everything in that pickup. I mean, in that car.
Well, it was, the fenders and all were so heavy, such heavy metal.
You could just
That-
tie things onto them.
Yeah, and a sack of feed fit just right next to the hood and the lights on the front. But you didn't have to worry about them falling off, you just set them in there and they rode real well.
What kind of crops did your dad raise and you helped him raise?
Oh, lands, we raised oats and wheat and barley
Corn.
and corn and alfalfa hay. And Daddy was an excellent crop fella. He knew exactly what
How
type
to
of
rotate 'em
fertilizer
and-
and how to rotate the crops and how to plow under green.
When to fertilize?
And he didn't like to milk cows. He never did like to milk, but he was a good.
The cow end of it, milking was you guys' job.
If we could milk at all, he managed to be doing something else when it was time to milk.
Well, now what was the milking process and and I know a bulk truck didn't pull up there like happens today. Just describe how the milk was handled.
Well, we had what we call stanchions that would hold 14 cows. And we hand milked it, of course, and strained the milk through a milk strainer and into a 10-gallon milk can, which was then loaded onto a milk cart, which our barn was up a lot higher than where our spring house was. And we'd wheel that cart down to the spring house with the milk on it and set the milk into that cold spring water. And a lot of times we'd stand with a milk stirrer and we'd stir that milk to help cool it. And the quicker you'd get it cooled, the better it would keep. And then a milk truck would come every day, if I remember right, and pick up those milk cans, throw them up into a big old high closed-in milk truck, and they hauled them into the creamery then.
And they were 10-gallon.
10
And milk's about 8 pounds a gallon.
Mhm.
And the can weighed about 10 or 15 pounds. So you're handling over 100 pounds
Oh, yes.
with one of those cans.
And we had one family that their dad ran a milk route, and the girls in that family
Pendergrass.
would lift those milk cans into that truck. And they weren't big girls either. I don't know how they did it.
I don't either.
Well, you just had to survive in those days.
You had to do what you had to do.
And your dad's dad did it, and his dad, and it was just handed down. There was a work ethic.
Mhm.
And if you didn't work, then your family didn't survive. And that
If you
was
didn't work
what it,
real good that day, you didn't earn the salt that went in your bread.
Mhm.
Well, we raised what we ate and ate what we raised. We were like all the old timers, that we did not buy any extras.
Yeah.
Well, Mom, we didn't have the money to do it, you know. And during the Depression, of course, she was more in the hard times, the war and all of that. And there was just no extra money.
During World War II, it was a very difficult time. We didn't get enough sugar stamps to have sugar to go on our cereal. And of course, we had corn flakes and our own milk, had plenty of milk. And we ate corn flakes lots of times without anything at all on them other than just the milk and the corn flakes.
But
And-
milk wasn't skim milk.
No.
It had some cream on it.
No, at one time, Daddy hollered at us upstairs and he'd say, "Get down here this morning, we got ice cream for breakfast." Well, it was iced cream. And we'd fall for it, big as pearl.
Well, tell about the driving home with no lights on because they couldn't afford, during the war, couldn't afford lights for the car.
Couldn't afford a new bulb.
Or the covers to cover them so that.
I know that they would burn the fuses out and they would take the wrapper off of a piece of chewing gum and wrap around the fuse and put it back in and hope that it would get you home, which lots of times it didn't.
My dad taught me that one.
And we rode home and without any lights lots of times. But it wasn't, if you could see the road, which most of the time you can, it wasn't really dangerous because you didn't meet any cars on Highway 65. There just wasn't any, especially of a night. And if there was anybody hitchhiking, which a lot of them did then, why, Daddy'd stop and have them jump onto the running board that hang on, you know, and we'd home from Springfield back to Fairgrove. And I don't know what they did from there on, but they'd probably spend the rest of the night there. And we had good times. They wasn't all work and no play. We had good times.
But you worked every day at something.
We worked, well, the farm work.
You had to do the milking every day, gathering the eggs.
It has to be done. And, but on, if we earned our 10 cents a week allowance, we were allowed to come to Fairgrove.
On Saturday night.
On Saturday night to a movie. The Fairgrove boys would carry folding chairs up to the top of the
Odd Fellows Hall.
Odd Fellows Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd get to watch the movie free because they'd worked. And this traveling, I guess you'd call him a traveling movie man, I don't know, but anyway, he brought all of his stuff. And you could get to watch the movie on Saturday night for 10 cents.
Well, our great-grandmother owned the building, and so, you know, it was a little easier for us to go.
Tell us about school, either one of you.
Well,
Who's got good school experiences?
She went in the old school, 1954, and I don't have very many memories of that. I remember the big gymnasium and things like that, but I don't have as many memories as she does.
Yeah, it burned in 54.
In 54. She was the last class in 1954.
And Mom and Daddy called me. I was living in town, working in town at that time, and they called me and told me that the school was burning, and they came to Springfield and picked me up and brought me home so I could see it, which I'd been better off if I hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but just stand there and cry because
Me too.
I really liked my high school years. We had a good time. We'd go on hay rides and
I got to go all those places.
she got to
with
go.
her.
You were just a tag-along sister.
And you know, a lot of people would have a fit if they had to take their little sister or little brother with them. But we were proud to do it.
Well, Joe Wayne, he was usually the tractor driver for the hay
Oh.
rides in Fairgrove.
Was it your wagon then?
Uh-huh.
Your hay wagon?
Yeah. And even things that weren't his class, he would be the tractor driver and just go, you know, down to Potter's Ford probably. And I got to go too.
He was the trusted boy in town.
Joe Wayne was called Grandpa.
He was an old man as soon as he was
an old man all the time. He drove just as slow as that car would go, you know, to keep it from putting. And everybody called him Grandpa. Of course, we knew when we took the car, we knew how far it was supposed to go.
It's going to be safe.
And when it was supposed to be back.
Now, you went fishing down at Potter's Ford, didn't you? Or down, up and down the river?
We
Well, and Lost
Swimming.
Range.
went swimming.
It wasn't all work. You had some fun times. You had some free time.
We had good times. We didn't work at all on Sunday other than what had to be done.
Yeah, Daddy didn't believe in working on Sunday.
Our family, our background was United Methodist Church, and our great-grandmother, Addie Thomas, was a Haynes,
Mm-hmm.
and they were the instigators of all the Methodist churches built in Webster County, and they were ministers. And Addie was a big worker in the Methodist church. She never missed a Sunday, no matter what, and she taught Sunday school. And we were firm believers that you did no more work than was absolutely necessary on Sunday. So us kids got to play Sunday afternoon after